what are your contingency plans? And most of these solo acts don't have a contingency, plan. So if you're doing a large project 7 days a week, you're gonna get sick.
I mean, I've been there. I've had to do stuff by myself. And this was probably 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And my contingency plan was bring a rolling trash can because you need somewhere to throw up.
Exactly.
And that was my contingency plan.
Yeah.
You can't miss work. And I always have that mindset. They hire a company, not a person. When you become a person and not a company, you're out of business.
Yeah.
They're like, you know what, he's really great, but I just think they're too old. Or, I think he's overwhelmed, and that's what it is.
Yeah. Or it's just one person and they're inconsistent at times because if they don't feel well, they stay home, and now we're stuck.
It's like the analogy you said with this building. It's like, if you weren't motivated, like, hey, this has to be done right.
Yeah.
It's very easy. Like I always say, anyone can clean for the first month.
Right.
It's at month 50 that you're like, dude, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want to mop the floor tonight. I bet you I could just go in and like sweep and they won't even notice. And then that day they don't notice.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I can probably do it again tomorrow. Then they don't notice.
Yeah.
And then 30 days later, you get a cancellation. Like, I wonder what happened.
And these are things that you've got to have a backup plan for who is going to do your work when you're not able to, or you don't want to.
Exactly.
And, that would be having a hiring plan, having, we talk to our consulting clients, most of them once a week, the ones that are one-on-ones. And I would tell them as they start, and we're talking a little bit more about like kind of the benefits and the things that they've gotten out of consulting, but they go from, I want to know everything, to now I've got some accounts, to now I have no time in my life.
Yeah.
And now what do I do?
Exactly. And I've been there.
And I think that's just that's like a natural progression in business, is that you're going to do those things. But now it's like, well, who is your go-to person? Like, who can you count on? And I have at least 3 people that I'm talking to that are saying that they don't have anybody they can count on, like their husband or their wife or somebody. They're like, they want nothing to do with the business. And so they don't have a backup.
Yeah. And when I was there, I've been at that point. Like, I had no one to count on. I mean, my wife would come help if she had to.
Yeah.
But, she's not going to put a vacuum on back. So I would reach out to other people because I didn't have enough money to hire people. Like, I had to do a hiring process, and I had to have people just on the bench because they don't want to be on the bench.
No.
They want to either be working or they don't want to be working.
Or they don't want to be there. Yeah.
So I would go to like church and be like, hey, this kid's 18, and if I need your help part-time, is something I could do? Oh yeah, that's fine. Finding that would be a good, when you're first starting out, and like Matt's saying, with like a 3-day-a-week account or a 5-day-a-week account that you're just starting, like, I don't need help every day, but I know I need help on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
Right.
Because I have these other accounts on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
Yeah.
And finding those type of people, and usually it is reaching out to like, to friends, or going into a church group, or going into wherever you're at, saying, hey, look, I've got some opportunities for part-time work.
Yeah.
You'll be surprised. You get college students that are like, yeah, I'll work 2 days a week for 8 hours a day. That's fine.
This is an urgency for anybody who's listening to this right now that's a solo act. You need to have a plan for this, and you need to take that plan.
Because you will get burned out.
And put it into action now. Like, start finding the right people to be backups for you if you take on a large project, or you don't feel well, or you want to go on vacation, or go to your son or daughter's, recital or play or game or whatever, that you're not stuck.
And then I see the other side, we're like, oh, I got this backup. That means I'm going to bring Matt in. And I know it's not going to work that day. I mean, I would never do that. Like, you're my backup. You're to help me. If I get really sick, yeah, you're going to have to step in and help.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm not working that day. Peace. No, you got to come in and help me until I feel like, okay, if I did have to step away, now you're good.
Right. And so
that's too many times that people put that, oh, you got it then, man.
Yeah. They don't know enough about the buildings. They don't know the security, the ins and outs. They don't know the cleaning process.
They don't know enough about them.
Yeah.
They're just like shady.
Exactly.
Like, I looked really good, but then when I go there, I'm sleeping in the closet.
You have to put yourself in uncomfortable positions. And I think that's where, we have some folks that we've worked with that do that way too fast and have way too much confidence and have absolutely no structure, no processes.
I know how to clean, but I don't know how to clean a commercial building. So now what do I need? Where do I start?
Never take on a building that doesn't have a contract signed.
Ever.
If they're the types of things that they're talking to you about, and the way that they're talking to you about it, using trials, and we'll see how it goes.
Walk away from that.
In 2 weeks, I was like, this is a problem.